Have you ever wondered how the sort button actually works? Since most of us probably just use it as a good enough solution to technically sort those hell chests of bullshit we don't actually want to go through, we really don't put a lot of thought into understanding how it works. It just does a thing and bam, it's somehow sorted. Job done, let me play the game. However, as much as it likes to be a little hidden black box, the sort button does have a determined way that it sorts things. It uses a sorting algorithm that the developers baked into the game when it was made. What it basically does is look at everything in your inventory and shove them into a bunch of different categories, which it then sorts. That's what the colored glow around each slot is. Those signify the categories your items have been sorted into. Knowing this then, all you need to do to understand the sort button is to understand how it manages the categories it puts items in. Luckily, this is pretty easy to find in the code, so that's what I'm going to be telling you today. The first category, meaning the category that will end up in the first slots of your inventory, is weapons. Specifically, weapons divided by classes. By default, melee weapons come first, then range, then magic, then summoner, but this isn't always the case. The order of weapon classes is actually determined by your loadout. That is, the classes you have the most damage bonuses for come first. So if you're a mage summoner hybrid with a lot of magic bonuses and some summoner bonuses, then your magic weapons will come first, followed by your summoner weapons. Meanwhile, melee and range weapons would come last. Conversely, if you were a melee summoner hybrid, melee would come first, then summoner, and you get the idea. This is the only sorting category that is dynamic, meaning it changes with your player, and honestly, it is pretty neat that the game will prioritize weapons that you care about. Then, within each class of weapons, they are again sorted by rarity first, then damage. So 2 weapons of the same class would be ordered by whichever has the highest rarity, and if they share the same rarity, then whichever has highest damage. All of this may seem complicated, and yeah, it is, but honestly I think it's a pretty elegant way to sort every weapon in the game based on numerical data only. After class weapons, we have, quote, assorted weapons, which are basically just consumable and classes type weapons, and then ammunition. Within the category, these sort the same way as class weapons. First, rarity, then damage. After ammunition, we move from weapons to tools. These categories are really simple. First, we have picksaws, then hamaxes, then pickaxes, then hammers. Within each category, they are then sorted by tool power. I really find it interesting that Relogic chose to prioritize picksaws and hamaxes over normal tools, but I guess double tools get that treatment. Also, do note how I skipped over axes when I listed out the tools to be sorted. Remember that, it's important. After tools, we have terraforming instruments, which are basically contaminators, solution, powder, and stuff like that. They're technically considered tools, so they come right after the main bunch. Ammunition that has no damage, like fallen stars and ale, are also considered tools and end up here. After that, we have armor and accessories. Obviously, combat armor comes first, which is sorted by highest rarity, then defense, and finally item ID, where, interestingly, lower IDs come first. Since lower ID basically just means an older item, I guess Relogic wanted to favor older items in the tiebreaker. After combat armor, we have vanity armor sorted the same way, and then accessories. Within all accessories, functional accessories always come first, which are then sorted by highest rarity, then defense, then ascending ID. Of course then, vanity accessories come next, sorted the same way. Once armor and accessories are done, we go through equipment. Grappling hooks, then mounts, then minecarts, then light pets, and then vanity pets, each sorted within themselves by rarity and ascending ID. This is then followed by potions, starting with dyes and hair dye, which are technically potions, followed by healing potions, mana potions, elixirs, which are potions that heal both life and mana. No items do this anymore since 1.4, and finally, buffs. Health and mana potions are sorted inside their categories by how much health and mana they heal, while buffs are simply sorted by their rarity, then ascending ID. Also, this category and most categories below it are now comprised of stackable items, so Terraria now incorporates stack size into the algorithm too. If you have multiple stacks of the same item in a chest, it'll always combine like stacks and then sort the highest stacks first. After potions, we then have our low priority miscellaneous categories. We start with, quote, important miscellaneous items, which are mostly boss summons, life/mana crystals, mirrors, conches, and the like. After that, we have paint items, wiring, materials, ropes, and finally, extractables. Each of these have a custom-defined priority list that determines how they're sorted within the category. I guess the Terraria devs cared more about how these ones were ordered, for some reason. Then, finally, we have our trash heap, the place where everything else we haven't sorted yet goes. The afterthoughts, if you will. Aptly named last, there are 3 categories in here: last materials, quote, important tiles, and common tiles. Last materials, not to be confused with the miscellaneous materials we just covered, is literally everything left that isn't a tile. It's a catch-all, and is sorted by rarity than value. After that come, quote, important and common tiles. Important tiles are just tiles the game deems as such, and there's a really long list of these. They're actually important in other parts of the game too. You can use Smart Cursor to place important tiles, but not common tiles. Interestingly, tiles are sorted by name alphabetically. They are the only category to be done this way, and I guess it's the best way to do it for building materials. Combined, these last 3 categories mop up literally everything left that wasn't sorted yet. I mean, all items are either a tile or not a tile, right? So, that's everything. We have our upper categories for our weapons, tools, armor, accessories, and equipment, the middle that covers consumables and miscellaneous items, and then the lower 2 that just catch everything else. Here's a bullshit chest with every category just to show you. This is a character with no damage boosts, so we have our melee weapons, then our ranged weapons, magic, summoner, assorted, ammunition, pickaws, hand axes, pickaxes, hammers, terraformers, combat and vanity armor, functional and vanity accessories, equipment, dyes, hair dye, healing potions, mana potions, buff potions, miscellaneous stuff, and finally, garbage and tiles. It's pretty elegant and works well. It's great. Except for one thing. Remember what I said earlier about the axe? Also, do note how I skipped over axes when I listed out the tools to be sorted. Well, axes are supposed to be sorted at the top, just like the other tools. But Red may have copy-pasted the pickaxe code for the axes, which means the sorting step for axes is completely skipped. Oops. So axes don't get sorted at all and just fall down and down and down until they reach the last material step. You know, the step where all non-tiles are sorted. It looks a bit odd, but yup, it's how it works. Sorted by rarity, just like every other junk item at the bottom. Must suck to be an axe. Red, please fix. Hello, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, as only about a third of you are. Similar videos are on the left and right. Either way though, thank you for watching, and good day, and goodbye. See you next fortnight.